Hi guys, I hope you liked the session with Andy Crestodina. I'm here for your next session with Burc, Tanir, the CEO of Pricing. Uh, Pricing actually is a company that helps e-commerces all over the world to automatically track their competitor prices and dynamically reprice their products on the go. He's an industrial engineer by background, and he's based in Istanbul, Turkey. So, Burc, welcome. We're very excited to hear your keynote. So I'm just gonna let you take the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me. Let me just also share my presentation to play with. So I would like to say hello first of all to everyone, and I would like to start with my bit of introduction, just to add on top of what Juliana just said. So as she just mentioned, I'm Burc. I'm Burc Tanir, actually the CEO and co-founder of Pricing, which is a competitor price tracking and dynamic pricing software, or for e-commerce companies of all sizes. So in essence, we helped all those mostly e-commerce SMBs to price like Amazon, I would say, to have all these smart pricing capabilities in hand with a bit of a product, with subscription. So other than that, obviously, I'm kind of like a smart pricing geek. So I try to write across many e-commerce blogs about this topic of like data-driven e-commerce growth and also pricing strategies. And I also try to speak in, such online and other than online. Hopefully in future, I will also try to speak at offline events when things get back to normal. And I always try to speak about pricing, e-commerce and stuff. So I really love to share whatever I know, if that's satisfactory. So to start with also, like, I would like to, put down some like preemptive apology if I might look too, too happy or too enthusiastic, too energetic during this time that we're going through. So, that's obviously not the case. I'm not that happy at all. But in most cases, I try to keep my positive side up to reflect, to radiate, let's say, some positive energy. So if anyone might get too offended of seeing a happy guy, explaining some stuff, and I'm really sorry for that if you get any offended. And I hope you don't mind my energy, my, let's say, joy or whatever you call. And I hope not even minding, I hope you really enjoy whatever I will present. So today, I will talk about why e-commerce businesses can't really survive without pricing optimization today, and actually also in the coming future. So to start with, I would like to first emphasize the case for consumers. So in today's landscape, like, the consumers are mostly millennials, and they are really growing price sensitive due to many criteria. But at the graph that you see over here, I would like to emphasize that those millennials really need to spend. They must spend on many like levels of non-discretionary expenditure, mostly driven by education. So at the bottom graph, you also see that their income hasn't been growing in the same way. So they really need to spend much more than they are actually earning in comparison to their previous cohorts or previous generations of a lifetime. And also, other than that, there are obviously some like recent global crisis challenges that we have to face, like trade wars, climate crisis, and this recent pandemic. So consumer space is actually becoming really price sensitive due to many facts. And other than that, when we look into the business side, especially to the retail side, obviously digitalization is not even a fact. It's actually the de facto thing. So many businesses, especially at the retail end, are speeding up their digitalization. So as you see here, about 30% of them already have focused on digitalization, and in near future, many of them, like the majority of them, already have a strategy to be implemented, to be executed. So the businesses are really speeding up, gearing up with digitalization. So there are also some like other factors that comes from global transformation, globalization, that we can't really control. They are above, beyond our powers. So one thing is obviously being spoiled of choice by consumers. So as they can actually access everything, access all pricing information and all such choices really publicly, they are becoming more and more price conscious. So because they don't really want to be fooled by high prices and stuff, so they are really conscious about prices, because it's really easy to be price conscious nowadays. And other than that, in the global space, like in the case of open markets, let's say, there are new competitors, new businesses popping up every day. That actually also helps consumers to be spoiled by choices. And all those new new businesses launching are actually, they need to compete on price, because at the same time, at the end of the day, they kind of try to market, they kind of try to sell similar services, similar products, if not same products or same services, to be frank. And in order to actually survive in this market and actually prepare, get ready for that, and actually thrive, grow in that market, companies really need to focus on actually managing all their resources effectively, and also to increase their productivity by doing that. And other than that, in this huge market, really competitive market growing day by day, they really need to gain competitive strength by focusing on pricing optimization, just as I will mention a while. And while actually doing that, I would like to also add a bit of a story into this presentation. So I really want to emphasize why pricing optimization matters with a quick story from one of our lovely clients from Australia. If he is listening, hi Luke. So Luke is actually from justtools.com.au. So they are an Australian e-commerce website, but before that, actually they are actually premier tool supplier operating for more than 40 years. So before actually getting to know this automation that we provide, before getting to know pricing automation and pricing optimization, they were actually trying to mimic the same process manually within their team. Maybe many of you are already doing the same pricing analysis manually. So this might also be a kind of reflection for you as well, if you are doing so. So they were before using any automation, before using any optimization, they were focusing on their, let's say, top 30 to 40 products. And they were only benchmarking their top 10 major competitors across this assortment. So imagine an Excel file containing 30, 40 lines, and it also at the same time 10 columns, where they were trying to populate all those prices manually as a teamwork. And they were spending 2 days on this particular task to conduct this manually. And with all the data generated, they were only able to actually change their prices, only about 15 to 20 changes on a week, which is really nothing in today's wildly dynamic pricing market. So this is, this was actually where they were standing before getting to know some automation. And in Luke's words, actually, the thing was that they had new competitors popping up every day, just as I mentioned earlier. So doing this manually, doing this statically is nearly impossible because you have all those competitors popping up every day in today's open market. And obviously, at the same time, it was totally inefficient, and also this limited assortment of 30 to 40 products is really insufficient in comparison. So why it was really unmanageable, you think? So because the price change frequencies have gone through the roof, I would say. So there is a drastic increase in the frequency of price changes, as you see over here. When we compare 10 years before to today's landscape, prices change way more frequent than before. For example, on Amazon, product prices kind of change once in every 10 minutes on average. So in order to really stay competitive, you also need to, as an e-commerce company, you also need to respond all those price changes nearly immediately, I would say. And also, why is it really unmanageable boils down to one maybe statistic that I might share here. So if you would like to do this manually, going after 100 product prices across 15 of your competitors would take nearly 19 hours. This is tested at home, so don't try this at home while we are working from home. Don't track all those prices manually, guys. Rely on some level of automation. So, but how, what are the characteristics? What should be our expectations about this automation and actually standardization? Let's say how to collect the data right way, let's say. First of all, you should really get rid of this fragmentation in collecting data. I see some stories like Luke's one, like Just Tools case. I see teams collecting data from different websites, generating multiple Excel files, then crunching them all together to analyze competitive landscape. But really, one really important thing is to really store all these products and prices in a single database instead of multiple Excel files flying around your inbox and stuff. And also at the same time, you should be able to build a system. You should at least have a system to collect all those competitor prices automatically for you, and not just only to collect those competitor prices, but also help you to react upon all those. So to update your own prices at the same time. And needless to say, you should be able to automate these tasks instead of delegating this task to your team. And you should really minimize resource usage at that level. And obviously, at the same time, you should really mitigate potential human errors. And also, when you start collecting all those prices competitively, automatically, you should really continue testing prices. Your prices should never stay at a certain level, so you should never stop experimenting. And obviously, as a business in a competitive landscape, to get some traction to your store, you should be able to offer some below average prices, if not the cheapest ones. So in order to really determine what is the average price, you obviously need to monitor them. And as they are changing frequently, you should be doing this automatically to repeat. And also, in some cases, this is one of the really more powerful use cases that we really try to emphasize to our clients. In some cases, you might also find the chance to increase your prices gradually And you can actually measure whether the demand is changing like dramatically. So if you have the chance to increase your prices, for example, like a $5 or so, and you still see the same sales volumes for that product, I mean, don't be afraid of increasing your prices, obviously in ethical levels of today's like toilet paper and stuff prices. This is what I'm talking about, really normal like market conditions where companies are like competing fairly, let's say. So this can really provide certain like improved profit margins. And obviously one key thing where I really try to emphasize testing prices continuously is that your prices should not really stick at the same level for a long time. So they might be profitable for today, but maybe not tomorrow. So you should really keep on testing them continuously. And also, when you track all these prices, other than changing your prices automatically, other than reacting them on day one, on the given moment, you can also develop a strategy for the future. For example, you can simply reveal a pattern in your competitors' behavior if you look into a bigger picture. So if you start tracking all those prices, let's say for a month, for months or so, you can really see maybe things like your competitor changing their prices mostly on Saturdays, or maybe mostly on the evenings when the like white collar people are going back to their like homes and staying with their family. They might be into shopping. So your competitor might be tapping into that, let's say, aspect, and they might be sending out push notifications with discounts and stuff. So you can really reveal such patterns by looking into data. And you can at the same time use all those insights, I mean, generated by this data to develop counter strategies against that. For example, if you, let's say, identified that your competitor A is offering discounts on Saturday mornings, and if you identified that, you can generate maybe some counter strategies, and you can just push the button for email marketing on Saturday morning to kind of steal away that traffic to be lost to that competitor. And similarly, you can predict potential competitive behavior and even respond with counter strategies in advance, instead of just waiting to kind of lose traffic to those competitors. So if we go back to our case with Luke, our dear friend Luke at justtools.com.au, so what do you think about the potential like results that we gained? I mean, how it really resulted for them, you think? So here are some really hardcore, let's say, solid return on investment numbers, to be frank. So he actually exceeded beyond survival. I mean, I was just saying that you need price optimization to survive in e-commerce, but these numbers were actually through the roof again. So in 6 months tracing period, like his revenue increased more than 5%. And actually this is, when we traced that organically, it was growing 1%. But with the addition of pricing optimization, we helped him to increase that revenue for more than 5%. And the marginal revenue actually he gained out of using our software, let's say, was more than 18,000 Australian dollars. So this is in comparison to our monthly fees of just in the range of like $200 per month. So imagine that you are paying just $200 to a software per month, and you just gain, I don't know, even 10, 20 times more than. It's like 20x return on investment if you really focus on pricing optimization. And needless to say, other than this potential revenue and profit gains, they saved a lot of time. So there was a dramatic improvement in their time efficiency at the same time. So to wrap up, what I just went through is actually, it's easy to boil things down to a few materials, few items. So instead of going after like fragmented methods of manual data collection and all this stuff, you should really have integrity with your pricing strategy and with your price collection, dynamic pricing strategy and stuff. And you can automate this. And at the same time, while determining a pricing strategy, you obviously need to maintain a certain level of competitiveness in order to really gain traction and grow further. And while you are generating all those competitive prices to analyze, you should be also testing your own prices in comparison to them, against them, maybe sometimes like below them, sometimes at the average level and stuff. And just as I said earlier, while you are trying to test your prices of today, you can at the same time analyze what's happening today and actually what has been happening in the last few months or so. And you can analyze, observe, and reveal patterns in your competitor behavior. So act against them. And just in the long term, you can simply develop such counter strategies for long-term success. So one last thing that I would like to add at the end of the presentation is actually something that we initiated as team of pricing. But before just dropping that, I really would like to acknowledge that, I mean, this thing that I will just tell is nothing near to all the efforts of health personnel, healthcare officials and everyone who are fighting against this pandemic going on. So we are actually doing nothing, to be frank, when we compare all those guys' efforts. against this pandemic. But we also, instead of waiting and sitting for things going back to normal, decided to commit a 150,000 credit program for e-commerce SMBs that might be interested in using this pricing optimization technology. So we are really trying to get to know e-commerce SMBs, and we have been doing this since 23rd March of this Monday, and we already helped more than 100 companies, either via like free subscription or via discounts or whatever. So this plan will stick with us throughout 2020. So it's not just something of day, because we feel that this thing will affect e-commerce SMBs in the long run as well. So we are always ready to help anyone that might be interested in this credit program to repeat with. So in case you would like to get in touch with me, here are my contact details. I really thank you all for listening to my presentation, and please feel free to contact me via my email here. I also put down my LinkedIn profile URL, but it contains some numbers and letters at the end, so it's maybe not that intuitive, but my name is again Burc Tanir, so you can find it on LinkedIn. And also you can visit our website to just say hi from the live chat box. If you would like to get more information about this credit program, our live chat team will be happy to assist you as well. But other than that, please simply feel free to send me an email directly, and I will be ready to support you in any way I can. So thanks again for listening.
Thank you so much for your. I got you back on the.
Okay.
I got you back on the screen. So
Okay.
guys, we still have a few minutes with Burc. Do you have any questions for him? Everyone is saying that you had a great presentation and they're gonna look at your site.
Thanks everyone. Yeah. So I'm open to answer any of your questions about pricing, maybe how to handle prices in today's market and stuff. So please feel free to shoot over your questions.
Let me see if we get any questions. I put actually a button here next to under your presentation that people can click and get on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So they can get in touch with you. Guys, do we have any questions for Burc? Okay.
Thank you, Slobodan Manic. Thank you. I like that you like the name of our company, which I also like, frankly. So thanks for that praise. Because mostly people call it as like pre-sync, and then I need to like correct it by saying no, it's pricing, because it's pricing. So that's quite straightforward. But mostly we have this pre-sync thing in the beginning, and we need to correct it as pricing.
We have a question from Harshil Patel, which I say welcome again to as he was here yesterday too. And he's asking if you can give him more information about price changing for the fashion industry.
Yeah, actually, for the fashion industry, obviously we cater to some clients, but what we see mainly is, let's say, more in-depth analysis for the assortment rather than just comparing products one by one. So we also help some e-commerce companies in fashion industry, where we simply dig their assortment deep and we scrape their full assortment and generate price histograms, because in fashion, mostly the user behavior is actually to browse through a website and just identify the products that you would like, rather than just going after one product and comparing this product versus other websites. So here what we do is actually we simply, our customers just tell us that these two websites are their competitors. So we simply go after those websites, scrape the full assortment, break down all the products into certain pricing levels, which is called price histogram, so that you can benchmark, the number of t-shirts you have in your store in the price range of $10 to $50 versus your competitor having, I don't know, in the $50 to $100 level. So these type of comparison in assortment level are more, beneficial for fashion retailers in the long term, rather than just benchmarking one product against the other product in their competitors. So I would rather prefer helping anyone interested with this assortment intelligence. And for the dynamic pricing part, to follow on with Harshil's question, we have a dynamic pricing engine where our customers can simply define smart price rules, as we call them, by considering their competitor prices. So you can literally go and say, I want to be, 5% cheaper than the cheapest of my competitor for this particular brand. But at the same time, obviously, we are after profitability. At the same time, I want to maintain 5% profitability. So we also embed your unit product cost, your purchase prices, to be paid to your suppliers. So in line with all those two factors, let's say, we then come up with a new smart price for your product. And then if it's different from its existing price, we then recommend you to change that price. And via API integrations or via our integrations with like Magento, Shopify, we are also able to change all those prices on the fly on your website, actually 4 times a day at the moment. But again, in fashion case, benchmarking things apple to apple is just looking into one bit of picture. I think assortment intelligence also is a big thing. And currently, for example, we are working with major consultancies on such project, like McKinsey is really into this project. For example, they are actually after assortment intelligence on certain websites in order to determine the not only pricing but assortment strategy of a fashion retailer to decide on, for example, how many t-shirts should be stocked, again in the $10 to $50 range. So this is also an important pricing, but also at the same time, I don't know, merchandising decision, not only pricing decision.
Okay, we have another question. Is pricing cooperating with government with the price changes in vital products such as masks, toilet paper, in order to change them in an acceptable price?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are doing so. And actually, for example, before even this event, I would like to give the praise to one of our clients, which is Estonia. So we have been working with Estonian Ministry of Finance for a long time. So they were actually interested in tracking these prices before even this crisis period. But recently, obviously, we have been approached by a few other governments that I really don't want to disclose at the moment because I don't have their permission. But obviously, we unfortunately noticed all those like trash going and everything. We just reported to officials, but we obviously didn't take any action at that level. But we are just a data source, so we just are able to collect the data, and then we just report to responsible people. But at the actionable end, we can do nothing other than just getting sad for the consumers.
Okay, thank you. We have Shamil Nasir who's asking for tips probably about price strategy for electronic industry.
Yeah, actually, electronic industry is one of the most price sensitive industries, and just in the contrary fashion, I think it's the market where you really have apple to apple comparison, because a person is mostly after a certain gadget. For example, they are after a particular type of iPhone, so they really need to buy that iPhone, and they will probably go after multiple iPhone listings online on multiple different websites, and in most cases you would see a Chrome browser open in front of them with 5 to 10 different browser tabs benchmarking all their prices, unless they are already doing this on a price comparison engine like Google Shopping. So that is actually really, really price competitive market. So there, obviously, we require this type of automation to benchmark your competitive prices automatically to really be, try to as cheap as possible, let's say, as competitive as possible. But also at the same time, we also recommend those retailers to focus on the cost aspect of things other than just your price, because the money that you get is actually the price, minus your cost. So you can either, I don't know, in order to gain money, you need to decrease your price. But at the same time, if you can focus on the cost aspect and discuss with your suppliers about your pricing strategy, about your potential growth with these competitive prices, if you try to buy in bulk or whatever to decrease unit prices low, in some cases, you might notice that you can bring your costs down so that you can really compete on price and you can really gain much more sales volume than you used to. So cost is mostly a hidden factor in pricing strategies. So people mostly focus on one aspect of things, which is our own price, the visible side. But the invisible side of price is also the cost, which can be managed internally via your supplier connections and stuff. So always be friends with your suppliers, maybe the key tip that I can give to like consumer electronics retailers.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Khan. I hope I saw him right, and he's asking, what is the price changes during COVID-19? Do you have any insights?
Yeah, we have horrible insights, to be frank. I mean, we are not really trying to disclose them and share them like things are going wild. I mean, be careful, because we are not such a company, to be frank. I mean, we are mostly a naive company, naive folks trying to build some nice software, added value into the market. So we are not really after some catastrophic events and catastrophic news and stuff. But to answer this question directly, we have seen like with obvious reasons, the toilet papers and the masks and sanitizers to like more than double. Their prices more than doubled in many markets, by the way. This is not just something about Amazon or eBay. This is actually something worldwide, and this is something to be expected, unfortunately, in the open market, because it's really a gray area to control prices online and actually offline. So unfortunately, yeah, we have seen prices more than doubled, if not tripled or quadrupled. And the interesting thing was actually in the beginning of the crisis and still going on, it's not only the stuff that you would expect. For example, fitness equipments have also seen dramatic price increases and also demand increases at the same time, because people are working from home, I don't know, sleeping at home, living at home. So home is home now, everything. So they're also doing sports at home. So we have also seen some prices, increasing at this fitness equipment level as well. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. If you don't have to buy a gym equipment today, you might wait for a month or so.
That's
34 killing the sales of our gym equipment customers, but yeah, I needed to be frank.
So Jersey is asking you, do you have any predictive pricing schemes? How can you personalize prices?
Yeah, we don't have that technology, to be frank. I mean, to be direct, we don't offer pricing technologies, pricing personalization. But with our technology, with our API, in some projects, we have collaborated with some personalization technology companies where they use our data and then they just recommended personalized prices to their customers, because they have this personalization technology. They can, for example, show the relevant material to each and every single person. So price is also a product content, if you look at that way. So in some projects, we also offer that. But this is just one feature to be missed, Jersey. So if you would like to navigate around the idea of competitive price tracking, this is also still value. So if you would be interested, I said that you just put that smiley down there, Jersey.
So he's asking you also to finish with Jersey, because he has the continuance. Can you recommend some software for personalization pricing A/B tests?
I don't really know, honestly. No. But maybe, I mean, again, if you are already using a personalization technology, I mean, if you are already a customer of one of those like tools out there, I've introduced us to them and let us discuss the opportunity with that vendor of yours, and that maybe we can actually provide the service if we get together, if not standalone, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for a smiling face. Okay,
Yeah. So we have another question. I like the fact that you get a lot of questions. So I have a question from Jaron, and he's asking, how can you automatically compare prices if EAN and GTIN codes of items are missing?
Actually, we can also receive the product listings directly from our customers in such cases. So we don't provide this super sophisticated matching technology that compares product by names, brands, and categories. But our customers also have the capability of introducing whatever product they would like to track, regardless of the country, industry, and whatever, because what we have at the back end of our technology is a really, really scalable and generic scraping engine, which is currently, by the way, tracking prices from more than 250,000 websites for millions of products at the moment. So they can simply define all those product pages, website pages into our database, into their account, and then we can scrape all those matched products via those URLs. So we can automatically visit all those product pages, imported into our dashboard, and then we can still show the prices. With the EANs and GTANs, we are capable of collecting all those URLs on behalf of our clients to help them save some time with the setup of the software. But if they are missing, I mean, we always have a workaround to help companies.
Mohammed is asking, is it possible to grow nowadays, or is it more reasonable to stay constant, in the business that you're at?
Depending on the business, I mean, I think it's a really, really, question that can be answered in many different ways depending on your industry. But I think pausing things should never be the right action for anyone. I mean, if I will try to give the most generic answer as possible. I'm just trying to improve things that might not have short-term effects if you have nothing to do. For example, try to improve your website experience, try to improve, I don't know, the design of your website, try to increase the SEO performance of your website, try to generate as much content as possible, unless you are able to market your offering to your clients directly because of their lack of attention of today's market. This is really, frankly, what we are trying to do. I mean, we kind of paused many of our direct marketing efforts, just shouting what to do and everything. We are really trying to help our customers today. And that help obviously has, needless to say, I mean, no one should lie about anything. It's obviously also business for us. So I mean, we are doing this for free for a while, and then after a while we will do this for discount. But hopefully we will help all those companies to grow in the long run, and hopefully they will appreciate that and they will be our customers. So everyone, I think, can find such solidarity, such help, initiatives for their own businesses. This is what we are really trying to do. And again, the first and foremost ambition about this is actually to help people. But if you can't really find such, initiatives or whatever, really focus on your long-term improvements, potential long-term improvements that you might not find time back in the office due to a lot of distractions. So sit down, focus on your SEO initiatives. Start implementing a pricing optimization software, enter all the data that you have in hand, because that will take some time in the beginning. And then when you hopefully go back to office, just have everything running smoothly and automatically. I mean, I think this time might be a good, let's say, time for e-commerce owners or for any business owners to optimize their hidden processes at the back end, that the ones obviously don't really require that much of teamwork and stuff. And with teamwork, you can obviously do things also remotely, but I mean, individual improvement processes might be the thing to tackle today, I guess.
Awesome. So for the last question, because we have 1 more minute, it's from Onur, and Onur is asking you, what was your most successful growth hack at pricing?
I think the growth hack was simply the thing that we were after in the very first, months or so. I mean, we have been growing without growth hacks in the last, I would say, 5 years or so. But in the very beginning, I think the key growth hack was really, this is not really a growth hack, but this is a marketing strategy, let's say, but to be, the thought leader in this space on many blogs and many events such as this one. I mean, I never lose the opportunity to speak and write about what we know best, because it's at least, at the end of the day, leaving your mark about an idea. So if someone, for example, listened to this, obviously more than 4,000 people listen to this, but if they would ever, not maybe today, but if they would ever need some technology around that, probably we will come to their mind, maybe not with our direct name, maybe they will remember a guy speaking with a black t-shirt and stuff. So we are really trying to create that opportunity of being remembered by people by leaving our digital mark across blogs, across such webinars, across offline events and stuff. But at the end of the day, this is not really a growth hack, but this is actually hustling 724, I would say. This is what we do.
Thank you so much, Burc, and thank you for answering everyone's questions. Thank you guys for interrogating here Burc, because I know he's always very eager to share with everyone. Thank you for this session, and you will be going to the next session with Mark Adams from eCommerce. So thank you so much, Burc, for your time. This was awesome. And I'll see you when this Christmas is over. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
As an e-commerce manager, you want to stop spending money on expensive ads. OmniConvert Explore helps you improve conversion through A/B testing, personalization, and surveys. Understand that growth is also a matter of retention, not only acquisition. With OmniConvert Reveal, you'll understand segments, monitor customer experience, and nurture your customers on every channel.